resume came in after the deadline, and she was considered for the training.
It was
But
up to
there were
the, it was
other
up to
two-
the clerk who he wanted to appoint as deputy clerk. The clerk appoints the deputy clerk. So,
I think what you're referring to is when Greg retired about a year ago.
yeah, but then he didn't retire. He rescinded his retirement.
We never accepted the resignation, so by law,
Right.
it is not a valid resignation. And that's really what it all comes down to, the letter of the law. And, you know, in frankness, Sherry communicates better with me than you do, Sam. That's a pretty sad situation, because you're the supervisor. And if you're the supervisor, you should keep the elected in this township informed what is happening. That's my only complaint.
So I'd like to make a motion.
I wasn't done asking questions.
Oh.
So if you'd like, we can open it up to both candidates as was suggested. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I wasn't given these questions beforehand. How do I know that Lisa
Nope.
hasn't had them in front
I
of
just
her?
got her resume.
Well,
I
how do I know that she doesn't have the questions?
Well, I wrote them at my house right before I came to the Bills. So I don't know what to tell you. Would you like me to ask somebody who watched me write them at 5:15 today? Nobody else has seen
I
them.
don't know if we need to do these interviews, because I agree with this gentleman over here that you had this information since Thursday, so you could have come in here yesterday or this morning, or you could have come in here and met with her.
An interview has to be done in an open meeting, which is what we now have.
Well, I think we can just vote and decide.
Well, I'm not able to gather the full information that I would need to be able to vote knowledgeably.
So you haven't been paying attention to what Sherry's been doing.
No, I've been
over the
paying
last year.
attention, but I have interview questions. I want to gather all of the information before I make my decision, and I have the right to do that.
Question 1 for Lisa.
I'll toggle back and forth, I guess. You had 2 questions. What are your top 3 goals in the position?
Transparency, accuracy, and organization.
Oh, stop. Just
What?
stop right there. He's
I wrote it when
reading
she was
it off a
asking the
piece of
question.
paper.
I wrote it down when she was asking the question.
I have had no
Fine.
communication whatsoever about what I wrote. Would you like to ask my husband, who sat there and watched me write them at 5:15 tonight? I sat on my couch and scribbled down questions in the event that this occurred.
Let's just do a vote. Well, she read that right off her paper. so
Yeah, that's because I wrote it down when she asked her in case they were going to ask me.
I
This is
make
the
a
paper I
motion-
brought in.
Stop. I make a motion because of Sherry being the deputy clerk to vote her to finish out Greg's term for the next 18 months, and everybody can run for clerk's job in 2024. So within a year, I make that motion.
I'll second it.
I don't, you pick one. They both seconded it at the same time.
I don't know, Melissa's been in a while, so.
It's a roll call vote.
DeShano,
I abstain. I don't have the full information I'd like to have.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Class,
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Good luck to everybody that runs in 2024. Any other new business? We have the sheriff's reports here for March and April. There was 205 runs and stops and 206.
They've been busy.
They have. But it moves around from checking well-being here in April to business, I don't know what business contacts are. Visiting people maybe, I don't know. And then they had 10 runs for reckless driving. Well, they had 10 runs both months in reckless driving. What did they add? What did they do so far? Paper services, notes, subject. They did have a gun call on both months. So,
40 traffic stops,
yeah.
which is good, because there's not one road in this township that doesn't need people to slow down on it.
Well, especially since the
46 traffic stops a month before.
especially since the road commission was illegal for them to put the 50-mile-an-hour signs up, so they've taken them down. So now all the roads that have no signs are 55 miles an hour.
Secondary roads are 55.
Yeah.
So going,
Parish.
Except for the church or the schools.
school zones.
School zones.
Wow.
That's state law.
Yeah, it is.
Mackinac to my house.
So,
They do about 70 down her road. So.
any other FYIs? I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. June 12th is the next meeting.
Yeah, just have to lock your window.